we are discussing the same problems, generally speaking, from experience. I think the questions are the same when you get down deep underneath it, but they're just asked in different ways. So there's always a solution to these things. I don't think it's a question of beating around the bush. It's just a question of how do you change with everything we do, with all these things which are quite complex, and particularly when it comes to modern buildings. And because of what the client has their expectations when they're spending so much money on these buildings, is when they're so complex. How do you implement change? And as we all know, one of the problems of human characteristics is that quite often the case is that they don't like change. Some people resist change, some people embrace it. And it's just a question of how you will implement that change. And technology hopefully will help that. It's just, I gained a kind of an interesting kind of different set of perspectives. There were some things that I already kind of, from my years of experience, have already kind of had a good grounding and a good understanding of what I've grasped over time. But, things change. The way people work and their processes change a little bit. So consequently now is having a bit more of an understanding really from the architects, and particularly from the project management side of things, of how they manage their projects, and of course how do we make sure that there's sufficient budgets in there for the right kind of professional services within a very technical building. If you look at between the two processes, there are very many similarities in there. It's just a question, like with everything initially, is like some people refer to it as a square peg and a round hole, but I don't think so at all. I think that actually what it is that the size of the hole and the peg is just a little bit different, and so it's just a question of just aligning the holes a little bit differently and kind of reshaping them a little bit so they dovetail together properly.